welcome to our channel. This is your host Kajal Rabhal, and today we have with us someone who has been quietly shaping the future of technology through innovation and research. Leading the face of UGASs, Preetam Gowda brings a deep understanding of emerging technologies like AI, IoT, and big data, not just as concepts, but as real world solutions transforming industries too. With a strong focus on building transparent, scalable, and future ready solutions, he represents a new wave of tech leadership that blends innovation with responsibility. So please welcome Mr. Preetam Gowda. Hey Preetam, how are you?
Hey Kajal, I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great, I'm great. Thanks for asking. So, without any further ado, let's jump straight into the conversation. And
Yep.
firstly, Preetam, I would like you to share a little bit about the journey of UGASs, okay? So, the company began in 2012, and while doing so, what gap did you see in the tech ecosystem that made you feel that this company was needed?
Um, that was a good question to start with, right? So UGAS is, was founded to address a clear gap in the tech ecosystem. Strong ideas often fail to scale because technology solutions were fragmented, complex, and with not keeping the real users in mind. So there was a need for a platform that combined solid engineering, data-driven intelligence, and the practical execution to solve everyday problems across industries and across sectors, right? So this foundation directly shaped Abody by applying years of experience, in building scalable, secure systems. UGAS has created Abody, to simplify the digital experience for the users and create fair and growth-oriented opportunities for the partners. So the result is a reliable AI-powered ecosystem, designed for long-term trust and the impact.
Perfect. So you just mentioned about ABuddy, right? Can you just walk us through your flagship? This is your flagship product basically. So can you just
Yes.
elaborate on its features as for our audience out there?
Yeah. Abody AI, it's a unified platform, having 304 categories across 34 verticals, and serves as a super app where user can, order grocery to order food from the favorite restaurant, book a taxi, book a hotel, book accommodations and whatnot. You name it, and we have all the services covered. So it's a pretty simplified system, that helps users save time and also the partners. From the partners' perspective, it's the very transparent, and as I said, it will be a fair and growth-oriented opportunities that we want to offer for the partners, where they pay no commission, to for the platform, as what we see in current, the platforms that already in market are charging the commission in a bomb, I would say, anywhere between 15 to 30 to 35 or even 40% at times. So we are, witnessing that the vendors are really frustrated about this commission that they are paying out, and their earnings has become so low that they're not seeing digital platforms are good for their long-term growth. So that's where we wanted to offer a fair and a growth-oriented opportunity from Abody AI.
Okay. So Preetham, basically you work with AI, IoT, big data, and machine learning. How do these
Correct.
technologies come together in your solution instead of functioning in silos? Can you just shine some light on this as well?
Yeah, for sure. At Abody, these technologies, work together, to create a single intelligent experience rather than separate systems, right? So AI and machine learning, help understand the user intent and personalize the services, And while data platform ensure the decisions are accurate, secure, and and reliable, where relevant and connected systems support the real-time service coordination to improve the consistency and response, right? So this integrated approach allows ABuddy to simplify everyday tasks for the users and help partners operate more efficiently. By designing the platform as one unified ecosystem, we deliver reliable outcomes, at scale, and build long-term trust across the users, partners, and the stakeholders.
Understood. So in this journey, Preetam, can you share any real-time example like where UGAS's technology directly improved efficiency or reduced cost for any specific client or any specific industry?
Yeah, I think yes, for sure. At UGGAS, our technology has helped clients, reduce their operational complexity. Is the first thing that I would like to quote, right? By replacing multiple disconnected systems with a single integrated digital platform, right? In one such engagement, consolidating the service workflows and data visibility significantly reduce the manual intervention, shorten the turnaround times, and improved overall service reliability. So these learnings, directly influence how ABuddy is built today. And by unifying processes through an AI-powered platform, right? And ABuddy helps users save time and partners operate more efficiently. By that, we are trying to lower the operational costs while maintaining consistency and trust across the overall ecosystem.
Okay, perfect. So you emphasize on transparency and providing secure platforms for your clients, other businesses that you work with. So how does UGASIS build trust in a time when that data security has become such a big concern, a global concern, we would say?
I definitely agree with your statement, right? For sure, data security is a big concern that we all of us have, right? So UGAS has builds trust by designing the platforms where security, transparency, and responsibility are part of our foundation, right? So it's not an add-ons for us. So we follow strong data governance practices, secure system architecture, and clear access controls to ensure the information is handled safely, predictably for all the stakeholders, right? So these principles, shape ABuddy as a reliable AI-powered ecosystem where users feel confident sharing data with us, right? And partners can operate with clarity. By combining the secure technology with transparent processes, we help businesses and institutions adopt digital platforms with a long-term confidence, right? So, if I want to cover from technical standpoint, UGAS applies security by design principle, right? Across all the platforms that we develop, including the encrypted data storage and transmission, role-based access controls, continuous monitoring, and strict segregation of user and the partner data, right? And systems are built in a secure cloud-native architecture with regular audits, controlled integrations, and privacy-first AI models that minimize the data exposure. This ensures that sensitive information is protected at every level. And when I say levels, it is data collection, processing the data, and accessing the data, right? So while all of these, helps in meeting the evolving compliance and regulatory requirements.
Understood. Amazing. And looking ahead for UGAS's, Preetam, what's your long-term vision? And what emerging technologies excite you the most as a tech leader, a technocrat, I would say? So, what's your take on that?
Yeah. Our long-term vision is to build, dependable digital platforms that simplify everyday interactions at scale. And with Abody AI as a key example, of this approach, right? So the goal is to create ecosystems that are very secure, intelligent, and people focused, right? Helping users save time and enabling partners to grow through a reliable and transparent technology, right? And from your other question about which emerging technology really excites, the technology that really excites us, is responsible and applied AI that improves decisions, without adding complexity. So that is very important aspect of the technology that we are looking at. And when it is combined with secure cloud infrastructure and privacy-first design, it allows platforms like Abody to deliver consistent value, and build trust and remain relevant as digital needs continue to evolve across the world.
Perfect, Preetam, perfect. With that, it's time to put an end to this amazing and inspiring conversation, Preetam. But before doing so, I would request you to share any words of wisdom or any sort of a message with our viewers out there, or your fellow entrepreneurs, or technocrats out there. What would be your message?
If I had to, share a small piece of advice or as a recommendation, for the young entrepreneurs or the fellow entrepreneurs, and we should build with a clear focus on a real problems rather than following the trends. And in the digital services space, right, the long-term success comes from earning trust, right, by delivering reliable experiences, protecting user data, and creating fair value for the partners, right? So at Abody, as I said, we believe the sustainable growth comes from the disciplined execution, responsible use of technology, and definitely the key thing is patience, when you build an ecosystem. So when users and partners are genuinely benefited, the adoption, follows naturally, and the businesses scale with confidence. So this is something I think we all, being an entrepreneurs, to keep in mind, that we solve the real world problems with all the trust and the fair, opportunities for everybody will definitely help all of us scale the business, with confidence. So that's something that I am personally experienced, and I would like to share, and with all the fellow entrepreneurs.
Fantastic. So, Preetam, I would like to thank you so much for joining us today, and we wish you as well as UGGAS all the best for your future endeavors, and wishing you many more success ahead. In future, we hope to connect again for more of such informative sessions. For now, I guess it's time to take leave. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kajal. Thank you for this opportunity to share a fewer insights, about the company, about the product, and what we are trying to do in current digital, scenario across the world that is evolving almost every day. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Kajal. Appreciate it.
Pleasure is all ours. Thank you, Preetam. Bye bye. Take care.